Hello and welcome to this recap of my most recent county over the board game. So earlier this year, I had an email from the captain of Lincolnshire asking if I'd like to play, and of course, it was a privilege to play chess for my county. Um, I'd only been playing chess for a few years, so it was really exciting to get called up to play for them. My first game, we played Manchester, and I drew that, and this was the second time I've played for them, and we were playing Warwickshire. And now this is a humiliating loss. It's one of the worst games I think I've ever played. I mean, well, back when I was first started playing chess, I got done with like the scholar's mate, so that was probably worse. But since I've been at a respectable level, this is probably the most embarrassing I think I've ever played. So takes a lot of balls to post this, trust me, but it's really instructive. So um, I think it's good to post anyway, even if it is just a horrible game for me. Um, so you'll see. So we got e4, e6, the French defence. So leading up to this game, you e4 is quite a new repertoire to me, and the French defence is some I would say is what I'm least confident in at the moment. So I actually said to my coach in the build up to this game, we need to do some prep on the French defence. We never got round to doing it. We never got time, and I never did any myself, which was stupid. So of course, sod's law, he plays the French defence. Um, but I was still confident because I've played it a couple of times in an online rapid game and I've done really well. But in those games, they played knight f6 here. I pushed on, the knight went back. I went bishop d3, c5, c3, and we got these positions. And I really enjoyed the games and was comfortable. But in this game, he just played the immediate c5. And so already I was like getting a bit of a panic on because I'm not familiar with this. And I just played c3 anyway because it's what I knew. But this is not correct. And I knew before I even played it's not correct because he's going to go takes, 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 which he does, and leave me with an isolated pawn. So I've made a positional weakness 5 moves into the game. So already I played it wrong. But I was happy with this because I used to play d4 a lot, so I used to get these isolated queen's pawn positions quite a lot. So I was familiar with them, and I have a plan. My coach taught me to embrace the isolated pawn, and my plan generally consists of you go on a kingside attack, you use your space advantage and your active pieces to go on a kingside attack. This bishop's already looking at the kingside. You bring this bishop here, usually drop it back, put the queen here as well, and um, create this checkmate threat, this battery. Your knight comes in as well. Your rook can come over and lift. The h pawn can come up the board. If they play g6 or h6, you can target those weaknesses. That's generally the plan. I'll use the activity of my pieces. I'll go on a kingside attack. And, Black's plan in an isolated pawn position is he wants to block the pawn from moving forward. He wants to stick a knight on it, and he wants to trade pieces and go into an endgame where he can target this weakness with queen and rooks. But straight away I deviate from the plan. I go queen a4 check, thinking this is a good move. And the reason I thought it was a good move was that I was going to bring this bishop out with tempo, threatening this. But this is actually really ineffective because he's got the bishop that can just defend. If I show you another position here, this is a position that comes up from the Nimzo Indian defense. It's a position I faced a lot when I used to play d4. If white brings their bishop out and then locks it outside of this pawn chain, this battery can be effective. Targeting this pinned knight, and you can then hop another knight in, keep applying pressure to it. But with this bishop being inside the pawn chain, the bishop can just defend. So it makes this completely ineffective, and actually not just ineffective, but downright bad because black trades this off and then goes bishop d7. But next he's going to go a6. And once he goes a6, I don't want to trade and give him this really strong bishop. But also, if I move the bishop out of the way, he now has a discovered attack on my queen. So, he can move this knight with a gain of time. So, actually, I now need to retreat my queen or my bishop, or my queen and my bishop. So, it's just really poor. And like I said at the beginning, with these IQP positions, I have a usual plan, which is a kingside attack. And there's a saying in chess you hear a lot of coaches say, a bad plan is better than no plan. And I never really used to believe in that until lately I've started to really understand it. And it's true. if you have a plan, and sometimes your plan doesn't need to be anything detailed. It could be something as simple as I'm going to attack his king side, right? That's my plan. I'm going to attack his king side. So I know where I want my pieces. I want them here. I want them here, here, here. I want to get my rook on this e file, or push the f pawn and bring the rook this way. I'm going to push this h pawn up. You have a rough idea of what you're going to do. But in this game, when I start going, queen a4 check, I'm bringing this over to the queen side, and then I'm bringing my bishop over, and then I'm actually retreating. I'm not following a plan, therefore my pieces become uncoordinated, and I just end up with a really passive position where black has all the initiative. So, you can see already where I'm going wrong, and black just gets his king safe. He gets castled, and I play knight to f3. Black plays rook to c8. I think black actually could have, before castling, he could have gone for queen a5, which attacks my bishop, but is also pinning this pawn to the king, setting up this threat of knight takes d4. But he got castled, and then again, he played rook to c8. He could have gone knight to b4 straight away, just threatening this bishop and this queen at the same time. I would probably have had to take. So I would have probably had to take, and then we get takes, and he's cutting me off from castling. This file's now open at my king, at my queen. Sorry, so this would have been rather unpleasant. But bringing the rook onto the c file and my queen is, can't be bad, can it? Again, I'm bringing pieces over to the queen side. Bishop a3. My idea is I'd seen knight b4. I had spotted this move, and I just wanted to stop it. So I thought, okay, let's cut knight b4 out. It develops the bishop on this diagonal with a gain of time on the rook. So I figured that this was probably a good move. I don't think it is. And just going back, I've put my bishop on a3, but just going back when I retreated my queen, actually my queen would have been better on a3 here, just cutting this king off from castling. Black would have had to either go here to cut my queen off, or maybe go here or something like that if he wanted to get castled. So that would have been better. But one of the reasons I went c2 was because I was actually thinking at this point in the game that I was going to bring my bishop to a3, which I do end up doing, but it's nowhere near as effective now because the king's already castled. So again, just bad play on my part. Black just brings the rook into the centre, rook to e8. And I've got an opportunity to get my king safe here, get castled, which I figure is probably the best move. But I start worrying about things. I believe at this point in time, I'm worrying about queen to a5, just attacking both these bishops simultaneously. And that's why I thought, okay, I'll put the rook on open file, giving support to this bishop. I thought at the time that was probably a good move. Black plays knight to e7. Now, I'm pretty sure here black's best move by a mile would be this e5 move. If you look at all this presence black has down the centre with his rooks and his queen, all his pieces are developed. My king's still in the middle. Ripping the centre open here would be, the best thing to do. Absolutely, the most principled thing to do. I'll be shocked if that wasn't the best move. But he comes back to e7, and so I've got a choice here. Do I trade the bishops? Do I retreat the bishop? And I retreated the bishop to e2. And this was just out of pure stubbornness. I had the bishop pair, and I thought, I don't want to trade the bishops off. I want to keep the bishop pair. But again, it was probably a stupid idea when I can just get my king safe. I can trade this bishop and just get my king safe. And the failure to get my king safe in this game was, well, not just that. Many things led to my downfall, but that was certainly one of them. I retreated the bishop to e2 because I figure that this bishop's going to go to c6, and I don't want him to take this knight and double my kingside pawns. So I'm just lending some support to this knight. My opponent said after the game he would have actually never took this knight and doubled my pawns. He plays bishop to c6, but he said he would have never taken this knight. He thinks I should have gone to bishop to d3. And I said, well, I was worried about this and this. And he said, oh, I would have never have done that and give you this open g file. But, I mean, I think, let's just go back here, here, here. I think this is better for him. I know he would probably get worried that I'm going to put my king here and have this open g file. But, I mean, look at, I've got this backward pawn and open file. I've got this isolated pawn. These pawns are now weak. Surely the black is much better here, surely. But he said he wouldn't have done it. But anyway, I was worried about it, and I think rightly so. So I played bishop to e2, and once again, I delay getting my king safe because I spot yet another threat that black has. And because black has developed so much better than me, of course he's going to keep having threats. This is what happens when you don't develop your pieces properly. You just give your opponent the initiative, and that's how you just end up getting destroyed. And that's what happened here. Um, I was worried about this the knight supporting this square, so this bishop can simply just come to e4 and skewer my queen and rook. So again, I retreat the queen, and even if you're a low level of chess, you should already be able to see what a disaster this is. We're on move 16. I've moved this queen 3 times. I've moved this bishop twice. My king's still in the middle of the board. This is just really, really poor chess. And yeah, I don't. It's awful, really. I mean, I said to my opponent after the game, I think this is the most disastrous game of chess I've ever played. Apart from maybe when I first started playing chess online and I was like 500 elo and I used to hang scholars, mate, and stuff like that. But since I've been at a respectable level of chess, I think this is the worst game I've ever played. And it's easy to see why so far. It's just really poor from me. Black plays knight e to d5. He's now threatening this pawn with a fork on these pieces as well. Um, and I'm losing my head at this moment. I know how bad I'm playing. I know how many threats Black's got. I know he's much better, and I'm just not thinking straight. Um, the best move here is bishop to b2 to defend this pawn, which is pretty sad. But I do believe, if I remember rightly, when going through this game, that's the best move. But I decide that actually I'm going to defend the pawn this way, which is obviously terrible because Black just plays a5, and yeah, it's just horrific, really. I play c4 here, which looks mad because you lose the exchange, but actually, if I remember rightly, c4 was actually the best move from when I looked with the engine. And like I say, you either lose a piece or lose the exchange. Either way, it's just a dire situation to be in. And I actually resigned at this point. I just resigned the game. I'd had enough. I was really I was really off form. I think this was my third loss in a row over the board because the end of my last tournament didn't go well. Those I will be bringing those games on soon. Yeah, I was just, and like I say, it was a combination of I wasn't well prepared for the French, which got in my head. I was on bad form, which was also in my head. Low confidence, and yeah, I just played really poorly. I had no plan. My preparation was poor for the opening. And yeah, I failed to spot all the right things to do, and it's just really embarrassing. Really poor game. Probably the worst over the board game I've ever had. It was really bad, but I wanted to post it anyway because it's really instructional. It's easy to see when you don't follow simple principles and you don't get your king safe and don't develop your pieces right. If you're playing someone good, you're just going to get destroyed. Simple as that. Um, so I hope you enjoyed it. My round 1 and round 3 recap should be coming soon of the tournament. I know I keep saying that, but um, me and my coach keep trying to record it, but we're having technical difficulties at the minute. But I think we've sorted it. So those games should be coming very soon. And then after that, I'll get round to posting my round 4 and round 5 of that tournament. And yeah, nearly Christmas, feeling jolly. Looking at this game hasn't made me feel jolly. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the time off and posting loads of new content. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching as always.